Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. Update. My 23 female, ex-24 male, tried to end himself because I don't want to get back together with him after he cheated on me. Original post. Me and my ex were almost together for 2 years until I found out he cheated on me. Ironically, he cheated on me using Reddit, r4r subs, and to be honest, at first I didn't believe it, but then I got hit with the undeniable proof, and so I hardened my heart and broke up with him. It was a really messy breakup, with him crying, kneeling, begging, saying he only did that because he was frustrated, and that he truly loved me. Other times, he blamed me for him cheating because I didn't give him enough attention. I ignored all of this and blocked his number and all his social medias. He tried using his family's phones to reach me, and so I blocked them too, although I am civil with them despite all of this. Because he couldn't reach me through the cyberspace, he eventually went to my house. Thankfully, we had a locked gate, and my dogs were also very alert to intruders. He couldn't get in, and so he slumped in front of our street and cried while demanding to see me. I already told my parents beforehand that I broke up with him, so my mom frantically called me that my ex was here crying. I immediately went back home and confronted him. He said a lot, saying how he couldn't live without me, and that he'd kill himself if I wouldn't get back together with him. Now this is where I agree I did wrong. I laughed at him and said he could try. Then, despite his pleas, I went inside my house, leaving him outside. After that, it became quiet for 2 to 3 weeks, so I thought he finally left me alone. Then one day I got a call from an unknown number, and when I answered it, it was his mom crying and telling me that whatever my ex did, I should forgive him because her son is in the hospital right now after trying to end himself because I don't want him back anymore. I was really surprised and also worried, and so I told the mom I'll talk about this to my parents first. My dad said he was pitiful, and that although the end decision would still be mine, he hopes that I can support him for a while even if it means lying to him. My mom, on the other hand, said he's crazy and to never see him again. My sister is impartial with all of this. I also asked my friends and they basically said don't ever meet with him, because he's a manipulative jerk. My relatives eventually knew of this because the gossip mill here runs fast, and said I should forgive him and to let bygones be bygones, because God wouldn't forgive me if I don't forgive. I live in a misogynistic and religious country, so their behavior explains it. I do care about him and don't want him to die, but I also don't want to get back together with him because I know my worth. What is the best way to do things? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Don't give him false hope with this whole support. I would listen to your mom and friends. He's manipulative in what he's doing because he couldn't have it his way. Thanks for this. I thought if I left him alone despite his self-harming streak, then he'd try to end himself again and that he'd actually succeed. None of this is your fault, just to make that clear. He's the one who caused you to leave him for cheating. It's better to give a final note to his parents that you're going no contact for your own mental health. You matter in this too. Thank you. I really needed this. Mom and friends are right. You can't control what he does or does not do. If the man wants to end himself, he will. Nothing you can do about it. You see him, then he will end himself if you don't see him again. Then he will do the same thing if you don't reunite with him. Then again if you don't wear a green shirt. On and on and on. It is emotional blackmail. He needs to control his emotions and learn that he doesn't always get his way, and to deal with that like we all must. But I would be consistent no contact. I am now leading towards no contact, but I'm worried on what I should say to his mom and family so that they understand my decision. Should I say it so that his behavior doesn't worsen? Stop worrying about placating mom. She is in hen mode and could care less about your rationale. She is more fixated on getting him what he says he wants. I would not contact her right now either. Okay, thank you, we'll do this. And now for the update. So I followed the advice here and went no contact. I sent a text to his mom saying how I'll go no contact, but I wish for his fast recovery. Basically, it did not go well and it definitely got a lot worse before it got better. His mom sent me a lot of messages that were mostly curses. Yes, it included a lot of derogatory words. I knew she was mentally troubled because of what happened to her son, so I ignored it and blocked her. When I woke up, I got lots of messages and message requests, and it was because she posted what was supposed to be a private matter in social media for the whole world to see. She even posted pictures of him in the hospital and she tagged me. It was overall a very hateful post. She screenshotted my text message to her about going no contact. I was turned to a villain overnight. Most of my message requests were my ex's relatives cursing me, and some of them were random strangers who also rebuked me. Even worse, some of my own relatives berated me and they said I should have taken their advice and got back together with him. Thankfully, the post didn't become viral or anything like that, but so many people I know and friends of friends saw it. My mom told me to go on a social media detox or just go on sites where I'd enjoy and she'd handle it. Well, she posted a response to my ex's mom's post, and it was about how she conveniently left out the part where her son cheated on me just to gain internet sympathy. My friends also backed it up and sent receipts and screenshots. The same friends who were one of the first people to know about the cheating. The hate died down a bit and I also received some support, but the damage had been done. My ex's company saw the post, both my mom's and ex's mom's, and they want to let him off because the whole issue is not good for their image since it reached a lot of people. I knew because ex's mom privately messaged my mom to delete her post because of it. She also said she'll delete her own post too. My mom got mad saying she'll refuse to delete it because now they want to be civil. But I did tell her to just delete it so that the whole thing can be forgotten. So far the posts are still up. For context, I live in a religious country, so yes, I am still getting some hate messages, but personally, I believe I can handle it. As for my dad, him and my mom are not in speaking terms because my mom says he's not taking it seriously, and my dad says that this isn't much of an issue. To be honest, the most absurd thing about all of this is how my ex is still asking for me. I got a much unneeded update from someone in his circle of friends, who by the way knew of the cheating. All of his friends knew of the cheating and didn't think to tell me. I would like to thank all who gave me advice. I did not regret it one bit, because who I believe to be good people, ex's mom and ex, all turned out manipulative and hateful people. No worries, I will definitely not get in contact with any of them in the present nor future. I hope things smooth over for you soon, OP. It's disgusting that his mother tried to blast you on social media, and he's still trying to get your attention. Thank you. Despite all the hate from their side, things have died down, so hopefully this will be just a lasting memory. They are blaming you for his mental-emotional flaws that existed long before you. If not you, some other trigger would have pushed him. His attempt at ending himself and their sick toxic response is evidence you made the right decision. Saw this sort of mind games used on my ex a lot. She was a people pleaser and she just wouldn't accept she was being manipulated. Like she had a guy threatening to end himself for me and she'd have to fix it. Why? His friends also told her not to tell me because I might go to the police and he wouldn't cope in jail. Don't delete until she deleted hers. Also send her a cease and desist letter as well as file a restraining order on your ex. Don't think this is the last you will hear from him. Thank you for the advice. Currently, me and my mom are in contact with a lawyer and he'll advise us on the matter. His mother's behavior is abhorrent. In no way should she be burdening you this. I imagine she's never held him accountable in his whole life for his actions having consequences and isn't going to start now. I hate that this is even a thing. Don't go back to him. He needs therapy and accountability. Of course his mommy wants your mom to take her post down. Her golden child is being threatened with termination, and that in the long run could affect her golden years. Mommy wants to live a comfortable lifestyle when the time comes for her to retire, so golden child cannot be terminated. You will survive this with the grace you have shown. You are very fortunate that there are no children or assets to tie you together, because your ex would have made you miserable and co-parenting would have been a nightmare. Last story. I'm leaving my husband because he's not upholding his part of the deal. My husband and I got married pretty young, 23, and we have been through a lot together. But I would say that our biggest struggles have been our careers and deciding on which paths to take. By the time we were 23, neither of us had graduated college yet, because college and life is expensive and we don't come from money. We both had to choose between working to survive and working to further our education on multiple occasions, ultimately setting us back in college many times. My husband was working dangerous situations in construction at the time and I was working dead-end retail jobs. So one day we sat down with each other and really discussed what we wanted for our future and our life, and all of it came down to us bettering our lives, which came to furthering and completing our education. So I decided then that because we still needed to survive, I would work to provide for us while my husband focused on earning his environmental engineering degree, since he only had 3 years left for his degree versus my year left in undergrad and 4 years for med school. So we came to an agreement that he would solely focus on finishing his degree so that he could in turn provide for us, while I focused on med school solely down the line. He finished and earned his bachelor's, as did I. I went at my own pace, taking the bit of classes I had left here and there while working full-time as a caregiver to earn a living. I was so proud of him, and even prouder when he landed his dream job at a great company many months later. The job he landed is in his field, it pays amazingly, and offers great benefits. I gave it the 90-day provisional trial to see how my husband meshed with the company and to see how things were for him before I even brought up the possibility of me continuing my education. After the 90 days, I sat my husband down to talk to him about the plans I have to continue on to med school. He convinced me to give us a couple of months to set up a rainy day fund just in case we needed it before I quit my job, which I fully understood. 6 months went by and our rainy day fund is pretty well padded, so I again talked to him about school plans, and he begins to say that he wants to start a family now, and doesn't think we could work out starting a family while all my attention being on med school. We have talked about starting a family, but once both of us were in the fields that we wanted. So I reminded him what we agreed upon, and he told me, well, I think right now is the perfect time to start a family, and I want one. So if you choose to go to school over our family, I'll be forced to part my ways with you. I stood there in complete shock of what he said to me, but ultimately decided that I love my husband, but not enough to give up on my education or goal. So I'm giving into his ultimatum and parting my ways. Now for the top comments. Good for you, OP. I can understand wanting to set up a rainy day fund, but only holding the agreement when it helped him and switching up on you like that is unfair of him. I wish all the luck on your studies, OP. I hope they don't share bank accounts. If they do divorce, her husband might try to take the rainy day funds for himself. Illegal and easily discovered by even the most incompetent lawyer. As soon as I read that he was going to finish school first and you were going to be the sole provider, I knew where this was going. I'm so sorry, OP. He took advantage of you. In this instance, you provided for the family so he could better himself and doesn't want to let you do the same now. At least you saw this before it got any further. This happened to a friend of mine. Except she did have 2 children while going back to school and him teaching. He left her for a student and she never finished her degree. As unfortunate and painful as it will be, you must leave him and pursue your own goals obviously without him. Godspeed. How awful for him to get everything he wants while she has to restart her entire career. Last story. I've sacrificed my entire life and I can't even get a simple thank you. I gave my entire childhood to raise my siblings. Yet in my mom's eyes, I'm just playing the victim. She acts as if her and my dad didn't leave me alone with 3 young kids at the age of 9 for a week without any money and barely any food to fend for ourselves. I knew how to change a diaper before I even finished learning long division. I missed so many days of school to make sure my siblings made it to school, missed so many meals to make sure my siblings ate all while my parents got to be child-free. I didn't even go off to the college that I wanted to because I knew that no one would be there to care for my siblings. Now I'm here at 23, and although my siblings are now older 21, 17, and 15, I still take care of my 17 and 15-year-old sisters, and they live with me. My 17-year-old sister took her senior photos last night, and she invited my mom to come. I knew that my mom would make things about her like she always do, but it was my sister's choice to invite her. My sister looked absolutely stunning and I was so proud. When it was time for my sister to pick out the photos that she liked and in what format she wanted it in, she picked out a photo of her in her cap and gown and chose it as a wall portrait. As I was paying for the photos, my sister asked me why she hadn't seen any senior pictures of me, to which I responded because I didn't take them. She then asked why, and I explained to her that I had to buy food for us so I couldn't afford the pictures. My mom flew off the handle, saying that I was lying, and that I always try to make her seem like a bad mom, and that I was playing the victim. I'd escalated the situation as best as I could to save my sister the embarrassment, but when we got back to my house, my mom just kept going and I finally broke down and said, "You are a crappy mom, and dad is just as crappy. I raised myself and your 3 other kids, while you guys got to live child-free most of our lives, and you're still living child-free. I pay for things that my sisters need, they have a home with me, and this is the first thing you've came to for them, because my sister had to beg for you to come." She again said I was lying. It's always been like this and I know it will always be like this, but geez, it would feel so nice to hear thank you from either of my parents. Set boundaries. Is there no possible way your siblings can move back with your parents and let them step up to the plate? It's not even about a thank you, they didn't want to take responsibility for their own children. They failed as parents, they deserve no respect from you, and you don't have to beg for their acceptance either. I wish I could, but if my sisters aren't with me, then they won't have anywhere to go. I haven't heard from our dad in over a year, while our mom is homeless and floating around with whichever guy she's with at the moment, so the only safe space they have right now is with me. My brother is currently away at college, and in the fall of this year my sister will also be away at college, and then it'll just be my baby sister left, and I don't want to put her in any dangerous situation. Sadly, in my experience, it never gets better. Only time my mother claimed I was her kid was when I claimed her child allowance. She lived with him a week while she contested me having the claim, and then he was back with me whilst I paid everything again. I never bothered trying again after that. Raised both my brothers, and got beaten every day just because she felt like it. She thinks she done me a favor treating me that way. I'm sorry you had to live that life. No one deserves to grow up in these situations. I'm sure there's no doubt in saying you were a safe space for your brothers. If no one has told you, you're an amazing older sibling. Take it from an older person who had somewhat similar experience from you. Never ask nor wait for gratitude from someone who already treats you like trash. It's a waste of time and emotion. Your siblings need to know the truth. You need to let go of the futile dream that your parents might change who they fundamentally are, and you and your sibs, need therapy. There's a common occurrence in mistreatment cases like yours, where the eldest does such a good job shielding their younger siblings from the horrible treatment that when the younger siblings become adults, they deny any it ever happened. I can see this happening with 17-year-old sister.